This is a very enlightening show, and I'm not kidding. I encourage you to stay tuned and watch the entire show as Michel Pascal leads his meditation. You're going to see light pouring in, something I have never experienced before. Stay tuned, beauties. Watch the entire show. Welcome to Mastering Modern Midlife. I'm Catherine Grace O'Connell, and this show is powered by the Forever Fierce Revolution. I'm delighted to introduce my guest today. Michel Pascal is a transformational meditation singer. He is also a meditation expert who travels the world. He's lived in a Buddhist monastery. He has done everything from singing, filmmaking, to the author of 20 books, including Daily Meditations for Stress, which we'll get into today as we live in this crazy stressed world. So I am so excited to welcome you to the show today.
I am so happy to spend this time with you, to be with all the people who follow your talk show. But before that, I want to say also to you how I am proud of you. And congratulations for all you do. Because, as you say, when we are stressed, if people are watching you, suddenly your show can save a life. Because your energy, what you will develop, all your guests, to create a spiritual talk show as you do, it is a medicine. It's more than a show. It can save the life of someone in a big depression, someone in a suicide, someone in a very difficult situation, suddenly can see you and say, oh, I love this show. So it's more than a show, and I wanted to say to you, really congratulations for all that you do.
Thank you so much. I love that you, first of all, that was obviously overwhelming, and I will take that in. I appreciate you sharing that because this show does mean the world to me. My mission to really put a positive light on age and ageism, and that you put this show in the form of medicine, which is a really wonderful thing. That's what your meditations are. They're really medicine. And in the end, our mind is the ultimate medicine for how we live, isn't it?
Yes, because the main problem that we have in America and in the world, the first causality of death, this is the stress. This is the stress. When we are stressed, we have three possibilities. We have a cancer, because the stress, the cortisol, destroy the immune system. We have a brain stroke, or we have a heart attack. So stress is the first causality of death in the world.
And that is our mind-body connection. Basically, the thoughts that we have within our mind start affecting the hormones and the chemicals, our brain chemistry, and pouring through our body. Like you said, cortisol, adrenaline, all these stress hormones, they become a chemical addiction.
Every emotion, it's an addiction. Every emotion, it's a neurochemical addiction. So if we are stressed today, we will be more stressed tomorrow, we will be more stressed next year, etc., etc. So to realize that we cannot keep going on like that. We cannot live with the stress. We cannot be a zombie, because when we are stressed, we are not present. If I am stressed, I don't see you. If I am stressed, I don't enjoy the beauty of the sun, the beauty of a bird, a child. I don't enjoy my job. I am in a mental prison. And when we are stressed, we become depressed. So we enter in a big depression. We are tired. We are grumpy. It's a disaster to be stressed. Stress, it's a mental disease. In America, we think that if we are stressed, it's normal. I am stressed. Everyone is stressed. It's normal. No. To be stressed, it's to have a mental disease.
It's like a mantra of whatever it is going in your mind that causes your body then to feel stress.
Of course.
So you have a very different outlook and approach to meditation. The Western concept of someone who, here you are in your beautiful attire from living in a refuge of the monastery for 15 years, I believe.
I was in the monastery exactly 3 years, but with my Rinpoche, I was 15 years his disciple, and I took refuge with him. So to be very precise in Buddhism, my lineage, in Buddhism, we have 4 different schools. My school is Nyingmapa. Nyingmapa, it's the oldest school of Buddhism. It comes also from Bon tradition, the Tibetan shamanism, before the story of the Dalai Lama. And my lineage, for the people who know Buddhism, it's Chepa Dorje Rinpoche. And Chepa Dorje Rinpoche, this is the lineage of Chatral Rinpoche. And Chatral Rinpoche is probably, we say, is the big boss of the Buddhism of the century. Chatral was one of the masters of the Dalai Lama.
So basically, a lineage is a sect. So there are different sects or schools of Buddhism. So you were in this one where you lived in the monastery as a refuge for 3 years, but you studied under an amazing teacher who was clearly extremely, as you would say, elevated at a very high vibration for 15 years. And in that, what you bring to the US is a very different understanding of what meditation is.
Yes. For me, it's not new. Every people, journalists, every people, Michel, it's very new. For me, it's not new. It's authentic. It's exactly what we live in a lineage. In Nyingmapa tradition, for example, we know that meditation, it's not a technique. It's not a technique. In America, if I ask you or anyone what means meditation, you say, it's funny. We never do that in a monastery.
That is clearly, there's a perception and there's a reality.
It's a cliche. There is a cliche that we have built in America. I must be like that 20 minutes per day, 30 minutes per day. And after, when I go back to my job, I am stressed again. I remember when I teach at the beginning at Google in New York City for the manager, they said to me, we don't understand. We have a beautiful restaurant, beautiful yoga room, mindfulness place. We love to be, but when we go back to our office, we are stressed again. Why? And I explain, because in an authentic meditation, there is not a time to be quiet and a time to be stressed. This is the same time.
You live life as a meditation.
So in an authentic meditation, in Tibetan etymology, to be precise, meditate means I train my mind in my daily life. It means there is not a time to be quiet and a time to work. No, I use any situation of my life to be calmer.
And that was why you chose to basically go and live at the monastery, like you said, as a refuge, which means that you basically live life with the same intention as the monks who live there for the rest of their lives. But you wanted to take those teachings out in the world and live as a monk out in the world.
I mean, it's funny, for me, Los Angeles, it's a monastic city. It's so quiet. No, because we don't live in LA. We don't live in New York. We don't live in a monastery. We live in our mind. We live in our mind. So all depends on our perception of the life. So for me, my perception of the life, it's a monastic life. So it means that I keep peace in any situation, and stress is my teacher. Because when I go in, I love the traffic, for example. Traffic, for me, it's a wonderful opportunity to train my mind to be calmer. It's exactly the opposite of the meditation that we see in LA. We imagine we must go in a quiet place. It's beautiful to go in the nature. I love the nature. But we don't live in the nature. We don't live in a yoga room. We live in a stressful life. So we must practice, we must train our mind inside the stress, not outside, inside the stress. So it's one of the main difference between an authentic meditation and that we can name blablatation.
Blah blah meditation.
Blablatation.
Fake form of.
Yes, it's fake
Yes.
because it's not efficient. Because if you go in a quiet place to be sitting down in a lotus position, you try to imitate a sort of fantasy of a monastic life. But we don't do that in a monastery. The life in a monastery is very intense. We work a lot. We have a lot of things to do. But we do all in full conscience.
Right.
We train our mind 24 hours, night and day, to be present, to enjoy every minute of the life. So one of the main differences between an authentic meditation and something not efficient, a blabla, it's we don't lose time, we use the time. We use any situation, and especially the difficult situation, to train our mind.
And looking at you today, you might think that you had a background that was, you grew up in this world where everything was deeply spiritual and perfect, but that's not really the case. So let's talk a little bit about you as a young child. You grew up in an environment of abuse and you found refuge yourself in was it the Catholic Church?
Yes. Catholic, kathos means universal.
Yes, universal. That's the original intention of...
It doesn't mean I judge someone.
Exactly.
It means all is universal because God, in etymology, in Old Greek, God comes from dies, Deus in Latin, dies in Greek, and dies give day in English, the day, the light, the clear light. So when I was a child, it was so difficult because my family was so violent. So yes, I was abused. And I came to the church, in a Catholic church. And when I saw the statue of Sainte Thérèse of Lisieux, when I saw the stained glasses, I listened the chanting. I say, oh my God, peace. I realize that there is no life without peace. So I have the chance, or maybe it's probably my karma since a lot of lives, to realize that we cannot be stressed. There is no hope. There is no hope when we are stressed. So when I was a child, I spent a lot of time in the church, and I started to sing in a circus when I was a baby. I was 9 years old also. And after I became a professional singer in France, I was 17 years old. And it's funny because when I was a kid, when my family was violent, I was scared. So I was in my room and I listened my favorite band, Earth, Wind and Fire. Yeah. Oh my gosh. When I listen those guys, they sing, I say, wah, wah, wah. And it was a dream for me to imagine that one day I could meet them or just to shake the hand, and to say to Verdine White, to say to those people, thank you for the love that you give. 40 years after, I sing with Earth, Wind and Fire. It's amazing for me to perform with Myron McKinley. Myron is the big boss, the music director since 20 years of Earth, Wind and Fire. And when I was in recording studio with Verdine White, last time when I saw Verdine, I explained to Verdine this story. I say, Verdine, when you play September and all, I was a kid, I cry and he takes me in his arm. He gives me an amazing hug. He say, Michel, follow your dream forever. So it's amazing. We have performed at the Carnegie Hall.
Right, that's what you said.
3 months ago.
We talked before the show, Carnegie Hall,
yes.
multiple times, and Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yes, it was amazing to perform with Myron McKinley at Carnegie Hall. And I come from France. So after Edith Piaf, the famous French singer Edith Piaf.
I have heard of that, yes.
I was the second French singer to sing at Carnegie Hall. And it's amazing when you sing on the same stage where Frank Sinatra, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder,
incredible
all those
idols
amazing
and icons
artists.
Yes.
We feel the energy. I say that because you are so sensitive, Catherine. You can feel the energy. And we have performed close 3 hours. And also, my idea was to invite a lot of people in difficulty. Because for me, when I came from my monastery to Los Angeles, my first surprise was to see if you have no money, there is no well-being. Mm-hmm. You can die. It's too much expensive. So I say, I want to break these rules. So I decide that in any show, any concert, we give like 50% of tickets are offered to the parolees, to the homeless. It was amazing. At the last show at Carnegie Hall, we have offered 100, 150 tickets for many parolees, women abused, homeless. They arrive at Carnegie Hall perfectly dressed.
Amazing.
And it built the confidence. Mm-hmm. It's a recognition.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I go to Carnegie Hall, they were like that. So it was amazing to sing for them. And as we create the app, Mind Dive,
there is an app coming. You guys will learn about this.
Yes, we will.
It's coming at the end of this month.
Yes, it was my idea to create the first free meditation app with yoga, science. I have the chance to work with the top scientist of America. In the app, we will have Deepak Chopra, Dr. Diane Nessie, the amazing psychiatric doctor, Gary Schwartz, the famous Dr. Gary Schwartz.
Is a big neuroscientist.
Gary is one of the most exceptional scientists of America. So it was my wish that for the homeless, for example, in LA, you know, the mayor of LA has offered a lot of tent and a lot of cell phone to the homeless. When I teach every day at Amity Foundation in downtown LA.
Amity Foundation, yes.
This is a foundation for the prisoners, for the homeless. Just when we go in the street, there is a tent and the mayor office offer a lot of cell phone for the homeless, for the people in need. So it was my wish to say, oh my gosh, those baby, in one click, they have access to Mind Dive.
Mind Dive. So Mind Dive is the very first free, everything free meditation app.
Yes, it's totally free. It's not you try 1 month and after you pay, or you pay, it's a free level and there is shut up. I say, shut up with that. I want zero money, just I want to help people.
That is incredibly profound, and what an amazing mission. So we'll share at the end, you guys, where to find Michelle's work and the new Mind Dive app. By the time the show is airing, you guys, it is available on iTunes. So we will download the app and then, yes. So what I want to go from is your childhood, this abusive childhood. You found refuge in the church. Clearly, you've done a lot of work. You did a film on Saint Teresa Santarez. But from there, then how do you get from Catholicism, and then over to Nepal, Catholicism to Nepal, to living in a Buddhist monastery, to traveling with the Dalai Lama and to photographing the Dalai Lama, and to working at Google and to working at Harvard? There's a whole story there. So how do you get from your childhood in France to a Buddhist monastery?
This is the karma. There is no explain.
It was just a divine path that
yes,
you kept
we
following.
feel. Yeah. There is situation. I remember, for example, of course, as a photographer, it was my wish to make a book with His Holiness Dalai Lama, for example.
You can't get better than the Dalai Lama.
And I did my first exhibit of picture in Paris, Place du Panthéon. It's a big place in Paris. And the director of Prisma Press, Prisma, it's National Geographic and Geo in Europe. She came, she saw my picture. She said, Michel, we prepare a new book with His Holiness Dalai Lama. Do you want to be the photographer? I say, oh my gosh. So it was always like that.
So it's the opportunities. You basically kept following your guidance and intuition, and these divine opportunities kept coming to you.
Yes. The only thing that exactly what you say, we must follow our intuition. We must listen our inner voice. But for me, to make a book with the Dalai Lama, to create an app for the homeless, to develop a new meditation program for the prisoners, to sing with Earth, Wind, and Fire, whenever, all for me, it's the same thing. It's to give love. It's to be kind. It's to give something grander than me. It's not me. You know that, Catherine.
I do know.
We don't exist. We are nothing, my baby.
We're vibrations. We're molecules vibrating,
Yes.
and it's ashes
We are
to ashes,
just a
right?
vessel.
Yes.
The energy is grander than ourselves. But when we take picture, when we write, when we guide, when we sing on stage, we feel God. I mean, we say God, I will say a quality of love grander than ourselves.
Not the way we normally think of
No.
romantic love. It's a completely, it's
a human, it's a divine love through the human love.
Do you think most people know what that is?
Everyone, we are the same. Just the difference is when we are stressed, we don't realize.
Exactly. But most of us are living in a very stressful, at least mindset, right? So
Yes.
then that makes us feel stress a lot. So we get removed from the ability of that vibration of love to feel it, to know it.
You know, it's very interesting what you say, Catherine, because the etymology of monk comes from monachos. Monachos in Greek, it means monachos. It means unity.
Monachos.
We are in the unity. We are present. The opposite of monachos, it's diabolos. Diabolos in Greek means we are divided. We are stressed. We are possessed. It's like we are in many directions. We are unable to be present.
So you
we
have
are
light
possessed.
and dark, because when you say diablos, you think of, right, sort of the devil, the light and the dark, right?
Yes.
So when we are divided, we cannot be connected to, like you said, that source.
We are possessed. It's a possession. The demon, it's the stress.
And the truth being, because you work with, like you said, you work with prisoners, which prisoners, homeless, people who've been sexually abused, people that have gone through massive amounts of trauma. But let's go back to the prisoners in particular. The prisoners live in a prison, a physical prison. But we also put ourselves in a prison in which we have the key.
I mean, as we say, who is in jail? I teach for celebrities or rich people, big manager. I teach for the prisoners in LA. Sometimes prisoners are more free than a celebrity or someone who is in a mental prison. Oh, my money, my success, my new movie, my new music. The person lives in a mental prison. So for me, the most important, the only thing is to be calmer. Because when the mind is calm, naturally, we are, in Buddhism, we say we are more present. If I am more present, we become more intelligent. When we are stressed, we are so stupid.
Yeah. Again, that neuroscience going into what happens in the brain, what happens to cortisol, what happens to adrenaline. And over time, it starts causing massive destruction in our health and well-being.
So more present, so more intelligent, so more kind. We must be kind.
Now, you teach a form of meditation that's a really simple form of meditation. Like you said, that you can do in a minute. You can take it out in the world. So these prisoners, you teach something called a wave meditation.
Yes. I teach to the prisoners how to recycle emotion. How can we recycle a trauma? How my trauma becomes my spiritual teacher.
I definitely want to get into that, and I want to personally experience the wave meditation with our audience, because I think you hit on something really important, to get into the emotions and how emotions can seem like they take a life of their own. And when we are in that crazy emotional state is the perfect time to practice these wave meditations, isn't it?
We will do today.
So this wave meditation, I'm really excited to experience this and have our audience experience this. This is a meditation that you've done with prisoners, people who have been paroled, but many lifers who have spent 20, 30 years in maximum security prison. And in moments, they're feeling calm. It's a tool they can take out in the world. So I'd love to try this.
This practice of meditation comes from Tonglen in Buddhism.
Tonglen.
So Tonglen in Buddhism, in Tibetan, it means to give, to receive. We can translate by to recycle. Because most of time, when we have a trauma, when we have a bad emotion, we have two attitudes. First, we try to hide. So we go to drink, take alcohol, drugs.
We run, we hide, we numb,
we hide, we
whatever
try
that
to
addiction
hide,
is.
but it's a disaster. Or we talk. Alors, it's good to talk because we need to liberate. We need to talk, but the more we talk, the more we can become addicted to the suffering. So it was the two attitudes. I was fascinated in Buddhism when my Rinpoche said to me, there is another way. I say, oh my gosh, yes. The other way, he said to me, it's to recycle. It's to transform the dark to light. It's to take out, to don't keep the bad emotion.
So in the moment of that, those crazy emotions, like you said, okay, some major emotions come sweeping over us. We're in a manic, crazy state. And that is, like you said, an opportunity to take this dark moment, this dark energy, and transform it into light. Take it, catch it, put it into light through this incredible meditation.
What the first thing that we do with a prisoner, for example, it's to teach him how to identify the beginning of the wave, the beginning of the addiction. Because every emotion, it's an addiction. So the addiction, if we say that, of the PTSD, of the trauma, suddenly the person has a fear that the person cannot control. Paranoia, we have a crash. So we teach a preventive attitude. We train the brain of the prisoner by anticipation. It's like if you are a pilot in an Airbus, you have a simulator. So you train and you are more ready if the crash arrives. It's the same approach that we use. It's a preventive, cognitive re-education.
So you're getting them so deeply connected between their mind and their body and their body and their mind. You call it top-down process and bottom-up process, where we're connected here so we control when we're aware when those emotions, that wave starts beginning. And then we use, like you said, up here to transform that energy in a moment. And how empowering is that?
So before to do the practice with you, just to explain. So we train the mind to be calmer, to reduce the cortisol. And we teach how to feel the moment start the addiction. Because the emotion, it's like a wave. So when the wave is too high, it's too late. But when the wave starts, immediately, we do the practice to take out the dark emotion. So in Tonglen, we use visualization and breath exercise, like in any meditation. The visualization, it's the wave. It's to feel the dark energy, to breathe the dark, and to take out the dark. So this is 10% of the practice. Breath exercise and visualization, just 10%. But as teach me my master, Chöpa Dorje Rinpoche, the 90% of the practice, it's the powa. So the powa in Tibetan, it means the transfusion of consciousness. When we guide a prisoner, we enter in another state of consciousness. We are deeply calm. And we could repeat the same visualization, but if we are stressed or if the mind is not extremely calm, the prisoner doesn't care. So when the mind is calm, when we guide, we give an energy to the person. We transfuse, this is the power, we transfuse our energy, the energy of all the lineage that we have received when we take refuge in Buddhism. Because in Buddhism, this is the only spirituality, there is the refuge. The refuge means we have an engagement to our master. And my master, Chöpa Dorje Rinpoche, as we say, it's the lineage of Chatral Rinpoche, Dudjom Rinpoche, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, all those exceptional masters. They were all the teachers of the Dalai Lama. So immediately we active the transmission of their energy that we have received and we give to the prisoner.
So meditation, as you said right now, is a form of energy transmission. It's as simple
Meditation, it's not a technique.
as that.
We cannot say to a prisoner, "Oh, my friend, we will meditate like a whale." Oh, one day, I remember I was with a prisoner. He was incarcerated. He was 9 years old. At 9 years, he was incarcerated. And I teach him, he was 50, something like that.
50
And
when you got him? He was
yes.
50.
Me, of course, I never ask to any prisoner, why are you in jail? I am so imperfect to judge anyone. So I refuse to ask why. Because this is a trauma that they have.
They've been judged enough, right? Judged and stigmatized.
They have enough judgment. It's important. It doesn't help them. You know, in many approach, we want a protocol with a prisoner. What was your problem? Are you addicted? Are you me? I ask nothing. Because for me, the most important, it's not the past, it's the present moment. So this prisoner, it was very interested because he said to me, "Oh, Michel, you teach meditation. If you ask me, take a breath, be like that, be like this, you are not respectful." And I say, No. I don't teach this blablatation. I don't will do that. No. I want to bring to you the nectar that we have in an authentic lineage. So I didn't talk and just I guide and immediately say, I feel calmer.
Yeah.
So meditation, it's not a technique, it's a transmission of energy.
There was, in your film that you did on Sainte Therese, there is a statement in there that she says, faith isn't belief, faith is an experience.
Yes, faith is not a belief, it's an experience.
And that's what
it's very
meditation
concrete.
really
Exactly.
is an experience. And
Of
most
course.
likely many people have not had this form of experience where really they're in control of transforming their own vibration like that.
When we teach, we must be what we say. We must be what we say. If we teach peace to someone, we must be in peace. Or if we are not like that, it's a joke, it's not respectful, it's a blablatation. So the practice of the wave, and we will do now, it's a practice to recycle our bad emotion. It can be a trauma, it can be a PTSD. We visualize the trauma as a dark color, as a poison, because when we keep a bad emotion, the emotions stay in our mind, so the emotions stay in our cells.
It gets carried into our cells and held into our cells.
Deepak Chopra proved that. All the neuroscientists prove that. We know it's not a theory, it's a reality, that every cells of our body, it's connected to every emotion. So we use, in Buddhism, in visualization, we use some color because it's easier to identify the mental toxin that we have received. So it can be a trauma, or it can be, I am in my job, my coworkers are very aggressive, my manager is super stressed, I am in the street, my kids is stressed. Any difficult situation.
It's all relative. Stress is relative, no matter where you are. Like you said, in prison, homeless, a mom at home, someone who can't pay their bills. It's all the same to them. It's all stress that kicks up all these crazy emotions.
So we can do the practice.
Let's do the wave. Let's do the wave. All right.
It's so simple.
Good. Yeah.
So I will guide you as we do in a session. I will snap 3 times. And when I snap 3 times, just we close our eyes. And at the end, I snap 3 times and we open our eyes. And just we close our eyes. We are sitting down in a comfortable position. We do nothing. Just we are sitting down like a mountain, grounded. And we feel inside us, we keep some difficult moment. It can be a trauma, a challenge. It's like a dark energy. This energy stays in our body. It can be in our stomach, in our liver, in our feet, in our blood. It's like a dark energy, like a poison. So we visualize this dark energy in our body. We breathe in this dark energy. We keep our breath. We keep dark energy in our mind, and we exhale the dark. Like a wave. We do it again. We visualize the dark. We breathe in the dark. Keep. Like a wave. We breathe in the dark energy. Keep, keep, keep. Exhale. And we feel better immediately. And we open our eyes slowly. And we see around us the light is more bright. The colors are more real. If we touch our fingers, the sensation is more real. When our mind is calm, all the perceptions are more developed.
So we're more grounded when we can
Yes.
feel, because when we get in our minds, we actually many times disassociate from our
calmer.
bodies.
How do you feel, Catherine?
I feel good. I felt that a big sweeping change, so much more like in my body, grounded. Yeah, it was beautiful.
And takes a few seconds.
Yeah.
And as we say, we don't lose time to meditate. We use the time to meditate.
We don't lose time to meditate. We use time to
We
meditate.
use time. We go to restroom. We cook. We clean dishes. We take a shower. We are in the traffic. We are at the workplace. We use any situation to take out the dark energy.
So
to be
any
calmer.
moment that is so empowering, if we're going through anything that basically darkness is just any kind of toxic emotion, any kind of negative thought, anything, we have the power to transform it really in an instant.
There is not a time to meditate and a time to be stressed. This is the same time.
So it's a constant recycling and transformation of energy.
It is what we do naturally. We transform, we breathe in, breathe out. So it is so important to realize that every minute of our life, it's an opportunity to be calmer. So to calm the mind when we have too much thought, anxiety, it's to take out the dark energy.
What's so interesting is if we taught children this versus all the things that we teach them to get them in their heads and their minds and thinking how stupid they are, to give them this power, this tool that empowers them in an instant. That because we start building up all these emotions, and then all of a sudden you hit midlife. Of course, we're a bunch of midlife women here in the Forever Fierce Revolution. You hit midlife and you've buried all this energy. You've buried all these feelings. You've buried all these negative thoughts, one on top of the other. And it's like, there's explosion that we could have been transforming as we went along.
It is what we do with the prisoners, also with the woman abused in LA, because when the trauma of the abuse start, when we remember suddenly, if we practice by anticipation, we are less surprised. So we train the mind to take out the dark, to recycle, and when the bad moment arrives, we are more aware. So naturally, we practice, and like that, we re-educate our cognitive process. Meditation, it's also a cognitive re-education.
The neuroscience part. So as we talked before the show, there's a chemical addiction, and there's a chemical addiction towards stress, cortisol, adrenaline, all those things that add brain chemistry in the wrong direction. And then we can create a new chemical addiction, a healthy chemical addiction for dopamine, serotonin, all those neurochemicals that actually calm us.
We can, to live is to choose. We can choose to be addicted to the stress, or there is a moment we realize that we don't feel good, that we become too much tired, unhappy, depressed, sick. So we say, okay, I stop this life. I have understood. There is no hope on this way. So we can decide, I will say like a martial art.
Like a martial artist.
To
They're
use
always transforming
any
energy.
difficult situation to transform our life. For me, meditation, I will say something special, but it's a martial art. It's a martial art. We recycle. We use the opposite force to be calmer. So like that, I remember one day, my Rinpoche showed me something so beautiful. He said, Michel, you were abused. Okay. Take your abuse like a baby in your arm and say, oh, my baby, don't worry. I will liberate you.
That's the wounded inner child. We can do that at any time because that still exists within us. All those past selves.
Yes.
And I think that's what the beauty of midlife is. There's sort of this awakening. Sometimes it happens through crisis, illness, whatever.
Yes.
Sometimes it happens just through some beautiful process of awakening where we realize we're carrying all these past selves and all this pain and all this trauma, but we also have the power to heal it.
Of course, everyone, we have the power to feel better. It's just a question to understand deeply. It's also a question of happy determination. So it is a reason why, for me, it must be in a cell phone, because we live in a cell phone. The world lives in a cell phone, so we can change the world in a cell phone.
In a cell phone, here with the Mind Dive app. There you go.
Just an app. And for me, again, as you say, Catherine, it was so important that it's free. It's not, oh, you pay $1 or you pay $0 and after you pay. No, shut up. Free. Bye-bye. And because it's too much difficult for many people who have no money. And for me, to be calmer, it must be free. It's so important.
That's a beautiful gift.
It's so important. We developed that with my friend Mana Dabolkar.
Yes, Mana Dabolkar, which is one of the ways we connected.
Is an exceptional person because she said, Michel, she contacted me. She said, I want to create with you the first meditation program for the kids abuse, for the homeless. I want to develop that. So she raised money. Of course, if people want, they can support a program like that.
Of course.
Because, for example, we need teachers for the prisoners. We have too much demand for the kids. With Mana, we would like to have teachers certified on this meditation in any shelters in LA, any shelters in New York, in America, everywhere. So, for me, what does Mana? It's exceptional.
Yeah.
Exceptional. Because spirituality, as says Saint Therese, when Therese, she say, stop to talk about God, be in God. Spirituality, it's act.
It's living in love is what she talks about.
Act. It's act. It's to be
it's
concrete. when you talk about the Dalai Lama, or when we talk about Chöpa Dorje Rinpoche, you are very surprised to see how they are, of course, so mystic, but so pragmatic.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah. Again, like you
Sky
said,
and-
so grounded,
Exactly.
but also able to really touch
Very
different realms of
concrete.
being.
Very, very, very
I
concrete.
remember seeing an interview of the Dalai Lama, and they were talking about the concept of self-hatred, and the interpreter, he couldn't wrap around it because he had no mental concept of what self-hatred was.
It is so important to realize again that we must be calmer, because when the mind is calm, naturally we feel better.
Yeah. So when was the last time you felt stress or you felt a toxic emotion? Do you remember?
A long time ago. Oh my gosh, a long time ago. It's difficult. I don't remember really. Just I remember one day, 5 years ago, I have a meeting one day with someone very aggressive on me. And it was a meeting for administration paper. And he was very aggressive, very stressed on me. And during the meeting, I enter in a bodhicitta attitude. Bodhicitta in Buddhism means invincible compassion. So I practice Tonglen. I recycle his energy, and I try to be very, very quiet. And minute after minute, he was less stressed. It changed the atmosphere of the room. And at the end, after 15, 20 minutes, he said to me, I'm sorry, Mr. Pascal, I am just divorced. So I am not polite. I'm so apologize.
So in that moment, like you said, you had that martial arts experience where it was like Aikido, and you could feel his energy, and you weren't, I think many of us walk around taking on all kinds of energy that's not ours, and then not able to discern. When we get in the crazy state, it's not necessarily our stuff. We're living in the stressful world and taking on other people's stuff.
I can reply to you with a funny story. At the beginning, when I remember I teach at Google in New York, one of the big managers, she said to me, "Oh, Michel, I am so stressed. I try yoga, I am stressed, mindfulness. What can you propose to me?" And I say, "Come in Times Square." She said, "Michel, you are crazy, Times Square. This is the worst stressful place
You go to meditation
of the
retreat,
world."
don't put me there.
I say, yes, but if we are able to be sitting down like a mountain in Times Square, you will be like a mountain anytime, anywhere. So we need, as you talk about Aikido, martial art, we need to train our mind in the difficult situation. We need to love difficult situation. I teach many times for money problem. How can I do when I am stressed with money problem? How can I pay my lease this month? How is it possible if I have too much credit and too much debit? So we must be calmer, and our money problem can become our spiritual teacher, because if the mind is calm, we can find a solution.
So whatever that stress is in our life, if it's money, which is a very common one for many of us, whatever that is really our greatest opportunity for ourselves to take control of it, to empower ourselves, to transform it.
Exactly. And Mind Dive, it's amazing tools that we have in our cell phone, because we can just write the mood that we have. For example, there is keywords. For example, if you say, "Oh, I feel anger," poof, you write anger, and like in a Google research, like we use artificial intelligence, a practice that I have record arrive to you, and I am in your phone, and I guide you to stop the anxiety, for example. So we have a lot of meditation practice like that. We have also the yoga for the daily stress. It's created by my friend Sonia Om. Sonia, she's a yogini master. She directs the Dharma Yoga Center of Los Angeles.
Sonia Om.
She's a disciple of Sri Dharma Mitra, the legendary yoga master. We have co-teach Dharma Mitra and me many times at Google. And Sonia create a yoga, for example, if we are in the traffic. I am in my car, lot of traffic. What can I do with my body to stretch my body, to do the yoga of the traffic?
So again, what you're doing is taking things like yoga, where we have this concept that it has to be in a yoga studio. No. Yoga is
No.
applying this to life. Meditation is taking that tool, applying it to life,
Exactly.
and changing our life in the process.
And we have also the top scientist of America, as we say, with Diane Powell, NSC, Deepak Chopra, Michael Beckwith, of course.
Michael
It's
Beckwith
amazing.
of Agape here in LA.
Michael is exceptional. Reverend Temple Ayers on the East Coast, Temple, she's like Michael on the West Coast. They are, for me, those people are the future of the spirituality because they have an amazing quality. They love.
He lives, Agape, I believe that stands for love. And Michael has his own powerful story, talk about like almost going to prison in a pivot moment where there was some divine intervention.
Michael is a big boss.
Yeah, he's a big boss.
Michael is a big boss, of course.
Yes.
I mean, his energy is unbelievable. He's a treasure of humanity. And in many years, we will remember and we will say, in LA, there is Yogananda.
Yes.
A few years ago, there is
SRF,
Michael Beckwith,
yes.
there is Reverend Temple. I mean, in America, we are so blessed.
We are blessed.
We have an amazing scientist and spiritual leader in America.
And here in LA,
LA, because they have an amazing quality, they never judge.
Yes.
Michael Beckwith, Reverend Temple Ayers, Reverend Kimberly in Florida, all those people. Deepak Chopra, I mean, we could explain, they have an amazing quality. They never judge.
And I would say that we'll leave on that point, connect everything in no judgment. And I think no judgment of ourselves, right? In the end,
of course,
we're our worst, we can be our best friends, but we're usually our worst enemies, judging ourselves. So if people want to work with you, many women in our audience are in the process of reinvention, looking to change their lives, both inside out and outside in. Where can they find you? Where can they find you? Obviously, your app, Mind Dive, is out. It'll be out by the time the show airs.
Yes.
And your book, Meditations for...
My book is, this is the last book, Meditation for Daily Stress. Abraham's book, my publisher. There is also the audio version. It just released. There is, if you want to be teacher certified on meditation for daily stress, you can contact me on my website, michelpascal.tv.
michelpascal.tv.
And also, there is Mind Dive. So it's so simple. We go on Android or Apple and just Mind Dive and poof, one click. No password, no credit card, nothing.
Mind
one
Dive,
click.
Free, available for you. So if people want to experience your meditations here in LA in person, how can they do that? So
in LA, people can come to any session, any concert that I give. I perform each month at TAG Gallery on Wilshire. It's organized by Mana Dabolkar.
Right, Mana Dabolkar.
And all the proceeds support the meditation program for the homeless that we create with Mana.
So if you want to learn to be a meditation teacher and also give back, that's an amazing thing.
It's beautiful because we need teachers. Yeah. We have too much demand, too much work, and we need to have teachers in shelters or for homeless or for prisoners, for many people. If you want to be teacher certified on this way, I have created a certification very flexible just by video. And you go on the website, michelpascal.tv. And just you go on my website and there is all the explain and you can contact my team on the website. They will take care of you.
They will. Trust me. That's how I found you. You've got a wonderful team.
They are amazing, really amazing. But for me, maybe the most beautiful experience, of course, it's to go with me in Himalayas, to go with me in Nepal, in Kathmandu. 2 times per year, I organize a very unique spiritual retreat, of course, very different than the spiritual touristic retreat. So you come with me and we go in the monastery of the Dalai Lama in Kathmandu, the monastery under the authority of the Dalai Lama. And we have a special puja, special ceremony, specially dedicated for all your intentions of prayer. So all the monks, it's like 150, 200 monks, they make an amazing ceremony, specially dedicated for your intentions of prayer. We go also to the cave of Guru Rinpoche, Padmasambhava, where he prayed at the 12th century. So it's amazing to go in this cave. And we go, of course, in the Gompa of Chatral Rinpoche. So it's amazing to pray close the body of Chatral Rinpoche.
So you have a retreat coming up in May, I believe. So
Yes.
you guys make sure to head over to Michelle's website, michellepascal.tv. There's a wealth of information there. There are
Yes.
links to everything, absolutely everything that you do, from your books to your films, to your documentaries, to your retreats, to your meditations. Get the Mind Dive app and bring
And
some.
people can also have all the songs that I have recorded with Earth, Wind and Fire. All the music is free, and the songs are written by Ena Love. Ena, she's an amazing poet, author. She was at Carnegie Hall with me a few months ago. She will be on stage with us, with Myron McKinley, at the Vortex Dome of
Hopefully
Los
I'll be there
Angeles.
too. It's coming
I
up
will
here.
invite you. And Ena is an amazing poet. She has a beautiful book, Something About Love. And for me, it's an honor to sing the prayer that she has wrote for me.
Well, there are a wealth, like I said, of resources on your website and links to all of those. You can basically see you performing, you can see the retreats, you can see everything. You can see the upcoming retreat. So it was a delight having you here today. Thank you so much for bringing this beautiful energy.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
Yes.
Thank you to each of you. All my heart. I hope that this talk can help you. And as we said at the beginning, a talk can be a medicine.
Talk can be medicine, and we do need medicine. We have our own revolution out there, and the Forever Fierce Revolution is a revolution from inside out as well as outside in. It's all about sparking lasting change from inside of a woman. So thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure to get that Mind Dive app, and let's bring some peace and calm to the world.
Thank you.
Cheers, beauties.
Thank
Cheers,
you so
Michael.
much to all my love. All
Stay
my love.
fierce.